Sorry, trying to get some food in. I've got kale in my teeth right now.
You just did that as soon as we started live streaming.
This is the real world.
Real world.
I have kale in my teeth, but that's not the bonus today. Today we're going to be talking about what are we talking about today, Jackie? Business pages versus personal pages?
Business. Yeah, business pages and personal pages. We got 15 people, 16 people here so far.
Awesome. 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 Okay. Let me stay as co-host here. We are going live. So are we we're streaming live right now and we're in Zoom. Is this like the webinar version? Is that why we're not
Yep.
seeing everybody?
Yep.
Okay.
We could promote people if we want to, if people are
Yeah.
interested.
Yeah. If you are interested in joining us so we can see your faces over here in Zoom, we'd love to see you. I think someone would have to actually promote.
You can work
Carrie,
on that.
you can promote them. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. I love that. I come in, I think it's just me, Jackie, and Carrie. I don't see anyone, and I'm just showing everybody the kale in my teeth. This is real world. I just came straight from the dentist and coming right in to serve you guys and do this workshop. So well, let me just tee it off and then I'm going to turn it over to you, Jackie.
Yeah.
We're really excited to have you guys here today, whether you're a lifelong burnout to all out community fan member or you are new to our community. My name is Melissa Hinault. I am the founder and CEO of Burnout to All Out. And we have Jackie here, who is our CIO, Chief Integrative Officer, who's going to be working with us today and presenting with you. We've worked together 7 years now.
Yep.
Built this company from scratch. And what is the one thing that created the massive momentum in our business that turned us into a 7-figure business in 18 months? It was LinkedIn. It was the power of LinkedIn that really allowed the momentum for lead generation and visibility. When it comes to being a internet-based, online-based, or just service-based company in general, even if you're a bricks and mortar, we only have so much time in a day to manage social media, right? Like if we're serious business owners running our business, we only have so many hours in the day to dedicate to like being visible, to let people know we're open for business while running and operating our business. And I know some of you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is where Jackie and I really leaned in to the power and the efficiency of LinkedIn versus the other platforms. Just to kind of tee it up here for those of you that are new. I often say you can be successful on any social media platform. You just have to meet the definition of consistency for the platform. Anybody try to win at the Instagram algorithms, right? Like I talked about this just yesterday. If you're up for making 18 stories a day and being a content creator and making really fancy reels and time them with trending audio, and like that's your jam. Some people love that. Some of my best friends are really good at it, but you have to be willing to put in the time and the effort to be visible over there, or have significant discretionary funds to invest to be visible through ads, right? And I think that's one of the reasons that Jackie and I love LinkedIn for every business owner, specifically if you're getting started and you only have so much capacity for time or income, and or business owners who are at a threshold and looking to break open to a whole new audience and mass visibility on a different platform with ease, with less time, with authenticity, with a great platform of trustworthiness. Number one, most trustworthy platform in social media. So with that, that's just a little bit of background or behind us, how we came to be, starting with the power of LinkedIn to scale my first business, which allowed me to launch another business. And we've launched multiple coaching programs to this day as a multi-7-figure a year company. So with that, I'm actually gonna turn it over to Jackie today. I really want to edify Jackie though. Jackie came in and joined me very early on in the business. She is definitely my right-hand woman to everything. And she really is the resident LinkedIn expert. We talk about having powerful team members in the company who have skill sets that you don't, that really, that you become a whole company by like lining your A team with subject matter experts who are smarter than you are and things that you're not good at, right? And so, you know, Jackie very quickly took off with keeping up with all the trends on LinkedIn as I was really running hot as the CEO and the face of the company and on the stages and all the things. And over the years, Jackie, I would say like you have absolutely become like the LinkedIn expert, right? Like I seem to be the face of the company, but really you're the one funneling me everything that's like, hey, this has changed. Hey, this is what's new and updated. And she's really like the master coach of all things when it comes to LinkedIn inside of our coaching communities, not to mention her brilliance from an integration perspective when it comes to tech and marketing and all the things. But so with that, Jackie, I'd love to turn it over to you because Jackie's actually going to run this workshop today, not me. She's going to talk to you about the power of business pages versus personal pages, which direction you want to go. And Jackie, I'll just kind of pop in and out
Yep.
anecdotally. Maybe we can even kind of use my two business pages as examples as we go along, like when and why we chose to set them up and that type of thing. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
All right. So, like Melissa said, today we are going to be talking about personal pages versus business pages. And I would love to see some interaction if you're on Zoom with us or if you're on LinkedIn. So, let us know which one you're currently using to grow your business. So, are you currently using a personal page or are you using a business page? Some people are saying both. That's pretty typical. And today, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of both and where we ultimately would want to see you land. But I will say at the end of the day, it's a choice. Everybody's business is unique. Everybody's situation is unique. So you may come into this with totally different than, everybody's a little bit different. So there's no right or wrong answer, but there's definitely a solid choice that we like better than the other.
Mhm.
So, first of all, I'm going to talk about personal pages and just what is a personal page. Your personal, because this is actually quite confusing to some people that come in on
Mhm.
LinkedIn. They're like, what is a business page or a personal page? So, your personal page is what you sign up and you get with LinkedIn when you first start. So, it allows you to get connections and it allows you to, have that feed that you have. It's very much like a Facebook personal page. So I'm going to draw a lot of similarities between Facebook because I think more people are familiar with the feed. Now, the algorithm on LinkedIn, not even close to Facebook. So that's where the similarities end. So when we're talking about personal pages, the biggest thing that I think is the most important is the fact that you can connect with other people.
Mhm.
That allows you to get into conversations with other people. So we'll talk about what we do on business pages as well, but your personal page really allows you to grow a network of people that you can sell to, right? Or that you potentially can be, get in your funnel or your customer journey and potentially be one day buy from you. So it's really important. And on LinkedIn, if you've seen our SSI training, LinkedIn very much prioritizes engagement on the personal page with your SSI score. So getting into those conversations that you can have with your connections is a huge part of the personal page. And that is what our preference is. I'm going to give it away now here. And it's because you can interact with people. And I would say in the market today, and I know, Melissa, you talk about this a lot, but a lot of times when people are making a decision to buy or to work with you, it's not about your product, it's
Mhm.
about you.
Mhm.
And it's about, are you the right person for them?
Yes.
Are you trustworthy? People don't buy
Mhm.
something, they buy you. And so being able to connect with people and in having connections, that allows you to message people for free. That's the big part of it. But wouldn't you say, Melissa, that's the biggest reason?
Yeah, I was actually just going to underscore this, just the power and the necessity of personal branding in 2025. I actually went to Barnes and Noble with my kids before we went to the beach because my kids are not allowed to use tech devices on road trips or take them on vacation. So we go and pick out old school magazines and books at the bookstore. And the Harvard Business Review on the front page was leading with the power of a personal brand, right? And I'm like, if the Harvard Business Review has an article about the power of personal branding, and I also want to underscore that inside of our paid community, inside the Lead Gen Academy, we have a number of people from HR who are in our program because they understand the power of personal branding, and they're consulting and teaching and coaching this to employees, right? Like, and to top
Yep.
leaders in companies. And so, you are in the world of 2025, whether you want to come to the grips with the reality of the internet or not. If you want to grow and scale a business in 2025, you have to have some semblance of a personal brand. Whether you're going to choose Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, you name it. But people in 2025 want to know who they are investing in, whether it's the owner of the company, whether it's the founder of the company, or whether you are the vice president or executive vice president of a company. Like, you better have a pretty top-notch personal brand in the feed, right? And so, yeah, I agree with you 100%, Jackie, that we can't avoid what the world demands of us right now to be successful. And so then we have to choose, where do we want to show up authentically? I am listening to a book right now called The Anxious Generation, and it just is giving me hives about the other platforms and the lack of authenticity and the anxiety that it's creating in the non-real like world of like, look at me and how amazing my life is, and filters and all these things, right? So we have to choose, where do we want our personal brand to be? Obviously, you're here listening to this workshop today, and you're like, LinkedIn must be it, right? But I just want to underscore that listening to this book right now, I've never felt more comfortable and more confident with our chosen platform for personal branding, where people are truly there to network and support each other and to grow personally and professionally. It's not a look at me and look at my fancy lifestyle and look at all the things I own, or look how beautiful I am, right? It is, Jackie and I like to use the word thinkfluencer. It is,
Yep.
you're
Thought
actually
leadership.
valued for your thought leadership, right?
Yep.
So that was more than what you asked me to say, Jackie, but I'll turn it back over to
No, but
you.
I think it really, that's, I mean, that's just it, is that's what people are looking for. And at the end of the day, if you aren't in that and you don't understand that, that's where you're going to struggle to make sales. You need to show up authentically as who you are, as a reflection of your brand. And I see Vicky in the chat saying, well, how do you do that with a job and starting a business? I will
Mhm.
tell you that in our upcoming Lead Gen Masterclass, Melissa goes over this in depth on Saturday,
Yeah.
her Saturday session of,
Mhm.
and we're going to go over all of that. We'll touch on that a little bit today, but I'm just going to give you a hint. It's the DMs, right? Like, that's a big part of it.
Mhm.
And there's plenty of ways that you can show your thought leadership without aggressively selling in the feed. And actually, that's the way we would teach you how to do it anyway.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a few things that you get on personal pages, and then we'll kind of transition into the business page, because I think that's where most people think they need to be, because it says business page, and I think we just assume that, oh, okay, well, I need a business page. So personal pages, the biggest thing is that we can connect with people. And if you don't see the connect button on somebody's profile, click the more button and click drop in the drop down, you're going to be able to connect with them. Connecting allows you to get into the DMs and DM people for free. If people are following you, you can't DM without having LinkedIn Premium. So that's a big part of personal pages. With your personal pages, you can follow business pages and comment on content that is on the business pages. But the biggest piece about your personal page is that you can build a network quickly. Network
Mhm.
equals audience,
Mhm.
equals people that could eventually work with you or buy your stuff. So that to me is the biggest thing. You can also do things like you can go live, like we're doing right now. You can have newsletters, you can have a featured section, events, and track your analytics. We'll be going over all of this stuff in the Lead Gen Masterclass
Mhm.
coming up in a few weeks. So actually next week. It's
Yeah,
coming right
actually,
up.
Carrie, if you want to go ahead, because I know some of you are going to be popping in and out. I know we've got about 43 of you here on Zoom. I know some of you are watching us over on LinkedIn. We'll drop the link to register because we're going to go way down into the weeds on all of this and some in our upcoming masterclass that starts on
Yep.
Monday and runs all week long. So yeah, we'll drop that in the chat here in the Zoom and also over in LinkedIn. Okay. Oh, and
Okay.
I just
Now,
wanted to also just say, because I agree with you, Jackie,
yeah,
I often say our network is our net worth.
it
And
is.
those of you
It
in
is.
business know this, right? Like being connected to the right people in the right communities um, are transformational in your business. And that is the power of like why people go to LinkedIn, right? And I also often say that your network is your social capital. We want to
Yep.
create your social capital to grow your audience, to grow your network, to grow the eyeballs for the right people who want to invest in your products or services. Okay, sorry,
Yep.
you can go.
Yep. I was just going to dive into the business pages now
Mhm.
because we've talked a lot about the personal page, why we think you should use it, but there are business pages. So I'm going to liken this to Facebook again. How many of you, and you can let us know in the chat either on LinkedIn or here, but how many of you have ever tried to grow a Facebook business page? It is not easy, right?
Mhm.
Who would agree that it is not easy? Not easy. Crickets. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's the thing. Okay. So if you understand that, and even if not, a LinkedIn business page is a page that you create from your personal page. It doesn't have to be connected to your personal page. So those of you that have, jobs where it absolutely wouldn't be allowed for you to start something new, that it could be something that you do. However, the business page is a completely separate entity. So when people connect with you on your personal page, they don't just go to your business page and click follow. It becomes a manual process of having to bring people over to the page in the same way that you would have to on a Facebook business page. And if you've ever tried to do that, it's not easy. I would say on LinkedIn, it's easier, and in the academy I do break down like different ways that you can do this if you need to do this, but a lot of it is from search and keywords and things like that. And if you, how many of you are familiar with that? What does that take? Time, right? And I know how many of you want to make a sale like tomorrow. Probably most of you, or in the near future. If we're sitting there and waiting for a business page to grow, by bringing people over to it manually, creating content that can be found in search, it's not to say that it's not going to ever grow. It's just going to take some time for it to simmer and grow. The main reason that people typically have these business pages, just like they do on Facebook, is to run ads. And so, like, because running ads on LinkedIn, running ads on Facebook, you must have a business page to do those things. So that's a big reason why you would do it. But I think the biggest thing is that your business page, when people follow your business page, they're following your business page. Yes, they can send you messages in your inbox, but I would argue that the personal effect of that, right? Because most people's business pages, they say the company name, has a little blurb about the company. There is no essence of personal brand on there, right? To me, it's like messaging a robot. How many of you feel like that when you go to a website or like some random page and you feel like you're messaging into thin air? That to me is not as conducive for conversion or getting people to buy or work with us. So the business page, it's definitely something that can become something that you build up over time. But when you first get started, our preference is for you to build an audience and to find the right people to come into your network on your personal page instead of having to do the manual work of bringing people over to your page and then hoping that your keywords show up in search. Like I said, not to say it can't be done, it's just that time thing. And most of us right now, especially if we're trying to get out of our 9 to 5, how many people here are trying to get out of your 9 to 5, right? We want to collapse time and we want to get out as quickly as possible. To me, the personal page is the thing that's going to do that 1,000% quicker than a business page.
Mhm.
So if we go into the similarities, business pages do allow you to have LinkedIn Live, newsletters, events, all of those things. You can follow other business pages, but you cannot follow people from your business page unless they have a business page. So then you would follow their business page. You can also engage on LinkedIn as your business page. So if you do have a business page right now, if you go to Melissa's feed and you interact, there's a drop down and you can interact as either your business page or your personal page, just the same way that you do on Facebook. The key differences on your business page is, again, there's no connections, there's only followers. There is not as robust of a featured section. Featured section is something we don't really talk about, but it is basically a billboard for you. And if you go to your featured section on your personal page, you could, there's a lot of strategy to that, but you can fill that with a bunch of different things. On your business page, you're really limited in what you can put there. The one thing I will say the business page has for it is more robust analytics, but that would make sense given that it's a place to run ads from. You can also boost your posts. That's a huge question that I get all the time is, can I boost my post on my personal page? You cannot boost your post on your personal page, but you can boost a post on your business page. Now, I don't know how many of you have ever tried to run ads though, or boost a post on LinkedIn. It doesn't cost $5 like it does on Facebook, right? It is a much larger investment to do that. So that's why I think people shy away from things like that. Unless you have like, $200 a day budget or more for something like that, it's not really going to do you any good. They're not going to show your ads to the right people. LinkedIn ads are a whole nother beast that it's definitely not for dabblers or people that are just starting out.
Mhm. Yeah. And you're also competing with corporate pockets, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
that for sure.
Yeah.
Like the average low end spend of ads on LinkedIn is $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's a lot, right? And
Yeah.
that's low end. Most people are spending a lot more. And that's just not, I mean, if we're
Yeah.
starting out, like that's just not typically in your budget. Your
Yeah.
personal page, all you can grow your audience and have people see your content and buy from you right in your feed without having to do any uphill maneuvers like you would on a business page. So to me, the business page is for people that maybe, and I don't know, because after you watch Melissa's masterclass session on, Melissa is proof positive. She grew her business do you want to talk about that while in a corporate?
Yeah, I mean, two things, right? Like number one, I grew my first business around my 9 to 5 in a Fortune 500 as a top leader, in incognito, right? So I know some of you are like, well, I'm working full time, but I have this passion to get out and I see the power of leveraging LinkedIn to do so. I'm your girl. That's exactly what I did. I didn't go public in the feed on LinkedIn until I left. Um, and I matched in my corporate income, which was a multiple six-figure salary, with my online business around my 9 to 5, leveraging the power of LinkedIn. And it would not have been possible with Instagram or Facebook because Instagram and Facebook were taking me way too much time. And leveraging LinkedIn, I was able to be much more efficient and direct with how LinkedIn operates. And so we're going to talk about this in our masterclass next week, just the power of being a big fish in a small pond from a visibility perspective. I promise you, your customer and consumer is on the platform and much more visible than the others, right? And so that was really what allowed me to retire from corporate. I never would have succeeded leveraging the other platforms while working full time, simply because if for anything else, I was working 60 hours a week and I have 3 kids. At the time, I had 2 kids, right? My husband traveled a lot. I only had so much time early in the morning and late at night to work on my business. That was it. And I was able to use LinkedIn to make a multiple six-figure income, retire from corporate America. And then the second piece of that I wanted to talk about, Jackie, I know we'll get into this, but is becoming a multifaceted entrepreneur and the power of leveraging that network over and over and over again versus building individual business pages and growing them out separately.
That's a question that we have in the in the
Yeah.
chat right now is Tom has multiple small businesses.
Right. So,
So
yeah. So I never in a million years, 10 years ago, when I first started in my first venture of starting my first business on the side. I never in a million years would have thought I would have gotten into luxury real estate. Never in a million years, right? I don't know that I even would have thought that I would have launched the business that I'm running today, right? I was in e-commerce, it was in health and wellness, it was a product, it was a physical product, right? And so where I'm going with this though is that I knew enough about personal brand power that I built my personal brand. I built my personal brand on LinkedIn and my personal page. What I did not do is create a separate business account and grow the heck out of it first. Because here's the problem with that. If you go spend all this time on your business pages, trying to grow individual business pages for your individual niche audience for each page, first of all, that's exhausting.
Exhausting.
Trying
Run
to build
yourself
a
into the
new
ground.
network every time you launch a business, and you're missing out on the cross pollination of your businesses. You may be saying to yourself, well, my businesses are vastly different. Awesome. You can set up separate business pages and you can support those individual businesses through your personal page and your personal brand. Because I guarantee you, all of these separate businesses that you own still aren't operating in a silo. You do not want to build a new network every time you launch a business. There is a reason that we went from 300,000 my first year to 600 and enough to hit a million in 19 months, whatever that total is, a little over 600,000 the following year, to a million the next year, to 3.8 million the next year. And we've continued to grow. We grew 30% last year. And what I want to underscore here is, had Jackie and I and Carrie, say hi. She's our lead marketing on the marketing team over here, marketing manager. Had we had to go back to the drawing board and grow a new network and create a new business page for everything, like from our Lead Gen Academy to our mini mastermind business mentorship to our high level mastermind. And also where I was going with this is my luxury real estate, right? So if you go to my personal page today, I now have two business pages. One is in the real estate realm, and you better bet your bottom dollar that I am going to promote that business through my personal page that has now over 20,000 people in the network. I am not going to go to that business page and single-handedly now try to grow it. There is power in your personal brand, even if it's through referral. Like, you might be saying to yourself, well, these businesses are so vastly different. Awesome. If your personal brand demonstrates that you're a multifaceted entrepreneur, you're a customer who loves and supports and is as such an advocate for you on this business may refer people in their network to your other businesses
That's
simply
it.
because they know your personal brand, your integrity, who you are, right?
Everyone's multifaceted. Let's
Mm-hmm.
just let's I say this all the time, but the reality is that everybody has multiple businesses. And if you're going to tell me that, oh, I have a jewelry business and a tech business, and I can't do that, I still would argue that you need to start a personal brand
Mm-hmm.
first and get that going. And you can have both of those businesses on that platform. It doesn't need to be separate. That's a story that you're telling yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If people like, if I see you posting about something that doesn't relate to me, number one, I'll probably take note that that's what it is that you do. And again, like Melissa said, if you've built your personal brand up enough, that's somebody that I may refer right down the
Yeah.
line. But when you do post about something that I'm interested in, I tune into that. And that's the thing that you just have to remember. All of this
Mm-hmm.
separation is doing nothing but causing you more work. When if you're trying to get started, trying to do too many things is the exact opposite of what you
Yeah.
need to be doing. You need
Yeah.
to simplify it because you're making it way harder than it actually ever would need to be.
Totally. And Jackie, I just came up with two real-time examples that happened this past week for people who have multiple businesses and they're like, well, am I really promoting my services on my personal page versus my business pages, and the power of referral? Here's two examples. Just last week, my friend Steve reached out and was connecting me for a friend who needed support with building their LinkedIn strategy. Steve doesn't need my help in LinkedIn. at all. Like, he just doesn't, right? But he knows me and knows my personal brand and knows through the power of my personal brand and multiple businesses that we run that this was a good fit. Number two, do you remember Sean Pete, who I told you about, he's a crew pit chief
Yep.
for NASCAR, right?
Yep.
Keynote speaker at an event that I was at, and he follows me on LinkedIn. Again, he doesn't need my support on LinkedIn, but he reached out to me the other day and said the owner of his race car team now is like ready to, and it's actually not the owner of the race car team. Let me back up just a bit. It's the owner, it's the co-collaborator. They do these leadership, this is really cool. They do these leadership retreats on site where their NASCAR team crew pit team practices, where they're like literally an athletic team that like changes over tires, they jack up, like it's like an athletic sport, right? They've turned this into a leadership personal development team activity at the track house, at the warehouse where this NASCAR team practices. They have a second business now where corporations can bring teams in and do team development through working together to change tires on these NASCARs. And he is like a keynote speaker on stages about leadership. And he's been on stages with NFL teams, major Fortune 500s. And so where I'm going with this is he came to me as a referral to the guy who runs this company with him, not for him. Right.
Right.
And so this is where I'm going with those of you that are trying to put your businesses in silos. You are being so inefficient. You are leaving so much money on the table. And it's why Jackie and I and the rest of the team have been able to snowball our company so rapidly, is because we aren't operating in silos, right? We are leveraging the personal brand. We are leveraging the entire network, and we are welcoming all referrals, no matter where they are. Right. And then
Yep.
we just promote the individual businesses at different times in the personal page using the personal business page. And that piece might confuse everybody, but that's why you need to come to our masterclass next week, because we're going to get into the weeds of this. Jackie and I are going to actually walk you through the top 5 things that you could be doing to accelerate your visibility and growth to 10x your lead generation next week on LinkedIn. And we're going to be doing it with you. So every single day is going to be action oriented, where you're actually going to hit publish. Like, you are going to publish something and take action each week with us. We'll be walking you through the top 5 ways to accelerate, be visible, and 10x your lead generation on LinkedIn.
You're going to learn so much. Everybody that goes through this is blown away. And yes, we do this for free, and you're going to love it. You're going to be surprised. Even those of you who think I'm a LinkedIn pro, you're going to be surprised. We're going to have good contests and things like that. But really, we're just going to blow your mind with a lot of information that you can actually use.
Yes.
Whereas I know most master classes that people attend are like, ooh, I just wasted 45 minutes of my life, right? This is not that. This is action packed. We want you to take action. We want you to get results. We've had people land $10,000 retainers during our masterclass.
Yep.
So
all you have to do is take action, take
yep.
imperfect action. And that's what we encourage you to do. Yeah. And I would say, to your point, Jackie, what we're teaching, there's a lot of LinkedIn education out there. What we're teaching, no one's teaching. And I would tell you, I love what you said, Jackie. Actually, those of you who think you know LinkedIn the most are probably the ones who need to be there. I can't tell you how many people come in with decades of corporate experience from like HR with these expansive networks, and come to us to learn how to actually build an effective personal brand on LinkedIn and do attraction marketing, which is very different than chasing people down. And a lot of you from your corporate roles think, oh, I need premium and I need to use Navigator. I'm going to tell you that Navigator mimics spamming people over on Instagram and Facebook. It's no different.
100% no
inauthentic.
Different. If you don't like it, they don't like it.
Right. So what we teach doesn't require a paid account. We grew to 1 million plus without a paid account on LinkedIn, right? So we're going to teach you all of that next week. So we hope to see you all, and you can register in the link below in the chat. And you could also go to burnouttoallout.co in case this is going out on replay. And you can go to our website and you can register, and we'll see you guys there. All right. Thanks, Jackie.
Yay.
All
All
right.
right.
Bye.